Hello, mate. You're right. How are you doing?
Yeah, good mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Looking forward to tonight's pod. You got everything prepped and ready?
Yeah, mate. I've got my notes, my equipment's all set up. Yeah, so I'm good to go.
Fantastic. You got your drink. You forgot it last time.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? There's a reason for that though. I've actually run out of beer, so no beer again for me tonight.
Back to back episodes without beer. That's unlike you. How does a free case of beer sound like?
Almost sounds too good to be true, but I suspect you're about to tell me more, Ben.
I am indeed, Mike. Our friends at Beer 52 are offering a free case of 8 exclusive craft beers. Simply go on to www.beer52.com/Vic and simply cover the postage charge of $6.95 to claim your free case now.
Yeah, absolutely. Beer 52 is the biggest beer club in the world, and each month they send their members a case of beer from across the globe. The Beers of the World case features 8 unique beers from 8 different countries, including South Korea, South Africa, and Sweden. And that's what is on this month. And it's an absolute belter of a deal. It's not stuff that you'll find in supermarkets. So it's not just off the shelf stuff. It really is unique. It's hoppy, it's citrusy, it's tangy, all of the above. Tick every box possible because it is there. So make sure you claim your free case now.
Sounds like a fantastic range, Mike. If dark beer is not your thing, you can choose the light only case. And also included is the award winning Fairmont magazine, and also get a couple of tasty snacks to go along with your beers too. Even if after all that you're still unsatisfied, you can simply pause or cancel at any time.
Yeah, head over to all the W's, beer52.com/Vic. That's www. The word beer 52.com/VIC to claim your free beer now.
Hello and welcome to Voices of a Vic podcast. And happy Easter to everyone. I'm Ben Aiton, and tonight I'm joined by Mike Duffy and Caity Kirkley to discuss Watford's 2-2 draw at home to Leeds United on Good Friday. We'll also do a quick preview at the end of the show for tomorrow's Easter Monday game with West Bromwich Albion. But first, we'll dive straight into it. Mike, how are you? How are things?
Yeah, good, thank you. Glad to be back on. And yeah, it was a good result on Friday. I went out in Lincoln. Obviously, day off, Good Friday. Went out in the evening, went bowling, had a few drinks, and was able to watch the Watford game. I watched both halves in 2 different places, so it was good to find many places with the game on. And yeah, happy with the result. And off to Birmingham tomorrow and going to the game, then stopping over. So fingers crossed, it's going to be a good Easter. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. Yeah, all good here. Just delighted with the performance really from the boys. It always sets your mood for a weekend, doesn't it? Especially playing Friday, and then you've got Saturday, Sunday to go into. But yeah, really pleased and proud of that performance from the boys. And yeah, can't fault the effort at all, which we're all going to talk about. But yeah, all good on my end. Caity, how are things with you?
Yeah, they're all good. It was really nice to go to the game on Friday and see a great performance. Like you said, it just sort of kickstarts the weekend, the Easter weekend. So yeah, it's been a really nice weekend.
I'm so annoyed that I couldn't get to the game as well. It was my birthday on Thursday. I was planning to go to the game on Friday, but when I finished work on Thursday, what happened? Bloody nail in my tyre. Phoned up the local garage to see if I could get it fixed. They're obviously shut Good Friday. I know I only live in Hemel, but there was no trains either. I couldn't be bothered to pay for an Uber, so absolutely gutted. It seems like I've missed all the decent performances at home, so that's just telling me something. Don't go to games and just watch it from home. Your team performs better. But yeah, it's I'm glad you enjoyed it, Caity. I think Cam and Joe went to it as well. But yeah, must say the Vic was rocking on Friday night. It's the best I've heard all season. So fair play to everyone who's getting behind the team. Just quickly before I jump into the team news and that, just a quick mention for the WBA team boys. Obviously, last Saturday was international weekend and they held their very first WD18 Cup. I took part in it. That's why I wanted to speak about it quickly now, because it was a well-run event. They put a lot of hours of organising behind this, but it was so smooth. The only thing that maybe let it down a little bit was the weather. At one point there was hailstones, so everyone on the side of the pitch was running into the bar. Maybe my team could have laid off the drinks in between the games as well in the West Hearts Club. Might have performed a little bit better, but yeah, I'm pleased to make a bit of history. I was the first player to score in the WD18 Cup. So if that comes up in a pub quiz, you can thank me for that. But yeah, no, really good event. And obviously we was there to raise money for two important charities, for Watford Hospice Peace and also Hertfordshire Minds. And the boys raised over £6,000 for two great charities. So fair play to them. And hopefully they do it again next year, because they had the demand to put in more teams. It's just they only had one pitch. So potentially rumours to go onto the actual pitch and do two pitches at a time next time. But yeah, fair play to them. But we're here to talk about Watford and Leeds United. 2-2 it finished. We'll dive into the team news. And it was, well, before we get into the team news, Mike, I wanted to mention Tom Cleverley's press conferences, because I'm not too sure if you was aware of what he actually said, but it seems like he's playing mind games, and he's only been into he's only managed 2 games. He went into the Good Friday press conference and mentioned that players were injured and they weren't going to be available. Jamal Lewis may play some part over the Easter period. He ended up slotting Jamal Lewis in straight away from the start. He also said he wouldn't change too much in preparations for the Leeds United game. Change formation, 3-5-2, not played that all season. Changed the style of play. It changed. It was refreshing to see, Mike. But what did you make of the press conference and Tom Cleverley's mind games?
Straight out of the Sir Alex Ferguson school, I think is probably the best thing to say, because Fergie liked his mind games, and he did it on his first game as well. He said that Georgie Chapverdadze was injured, and lo and behold, he went and started. So, yeah, look, I like it. I do. It keeps fans on our feet. Like, how many times have we had opposition podcasts on here and they've said, "Oh, I think it'll be a bit too soon for that," and their manager said the same, and you think, "Oh, thank God." And then you see the team moves and he's in, and you're like, "Shit, I thought he was." So it's nice to have that sort of unexpected team news come out, to be honest. But I like it, I do, and it throws Leeds off. You know, they'll have been looking at clips of previous games, how we've set up, and how we've sort of set up over the course of the season. Obviously, they would have thrown a bit of caution towards the wind, and said, right, they've got a new manager in, so it's not going to be exactly the same. But the fact that he completely changes the system as well, and I must say, I think the system worked really well against Leeds. I think they weren't expecting us to set up like that. And it's quite ironic, actually. I thought the way that we played actually resembled how I think we all thought we were going to play under Val. It was very on the front foot, direct at times, very aggressive in your face. We thought that was going to be what Val brought us. It wasn't, unfortunately. It might have been to start with a little bit, but it didn't sort of pan out that way. So, yeah, fair play to Clevs. And I now know to take each press conference with a pinch of salt, and I'm looking forward. I've not read any of his comments today. I don't know if he's done one today for tomorrow.
I've not seen anything.
I've not seen anything. So I'm going to look forward to those, and I'll probably have a look in a minute when one of you guys is speaking and see what he said. But yeah, I like it. I do. It's good.
Yeah, it's a fresh approach, isn't it? It keeps us on our toes as fans, but more importantly, keeps the opposition on their toes. Like Caity, we went into the game. We obviously saw Andrew French's press conference. He was saying no Jamal Lewis, no James Morris. We was going into the game against Leeds, top of the table, flying this season, and going into the game thinking we ain't got a fit left back. What on earth are we going to do? But Clev's just kept the ace up his sleeve and then played Jamal Lewis, and James Morris was even on the bench as well. So I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I mean, and then Jamal Lewis goes on to have the best game in a Watford shirt. I mean, considering everyone thought that I can't remember his name now, the youngster who was on the bench, everyone thought he was gonna be playing because we had no left backs. But like what you guys have said, the element of surprise, it does sometimes help you because you go into a game thinking, oh, well, they're going to have an inexperienced player at left back. That's where we can hit them, get their weak points. And then you throw Jamal Lewis in and he puts in a 10 out of 10 performance. Like, they probably weren't expecting him to do that. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to do that, but I think I like his press conferences. I think that he's handled this coming into the role really well with how he speaks about the players, the club, the media. And I think it paints him in a really, really good picture as a manager, not someone who we're taking as a joke. He comes across really serious. And the fact that he's keeping our good players sort of hidden away, like not giving away too much, I think it's really helping in our favour.
Yeah, it's refreshing to have as well. We'll talk a little bit more about Tom Cleverley after we've discussed the Leeds United review because, yeah, I think he's impressed a lot of people with how he's set up the team of late. Got to think 2 games in as well, and it's been so refreshing considering what we had under Val. But the team lineup was a 3-5-2. So we played two wing backs, and that's probably why Jamal Lewis actually had a better game because he was playing in that position. So Daniel Batman kept his place in goal and captain Zarnban. The 3 centre halves with Matty Pollock, Sirielta, and Ryan Porteous. The wing backs Ryan Andrews and Jamal Lewis. Midfield 3 was Tom Delibashiru, Kiembe, and Espria in front of them too, and then a front 2 of Emmanuel Dennis and Bakun Bayo. Chapodeski and Kone were both on the bench after returning from international duty, although Espria did also return from international duty. But obviously, you got to find a way in this team for Espria out of all 3 of those. He is our star boy. Mike, 20 minutes into the game, I thought Watford started really brightly. I thought we was on the front foot, very aggressive with our play. Shout of a penalty as well. Yasser Espria and Purdue came through the back of him.
You've seen it given, and for me, like you say, he's completely wiped him out from behind. So for me, yeah, it had to be a penalty. Maybe a little tinge of big club biasy, I don't know, but yeah, I'm very surprised, and I think Klebs thought it was as well. He was very sort of clever with his answer in the post-match interview. He said, "It's my first interview. I don't want to get myself into trouble." But yeah, disappointing. And at that stage, you sort of think, right, is it going to be this type of game? You know, we've had a penalty which we thought was a penalty turned away. Our chances and these decisions are going to go against us tonight. So luckily, that wasn't to be the case, and we just carried on where we left off and was really at Leeds. But I really don't think they expected us to come at them like that.
Not at all, and it didn't take too much longer after the whole penalty shout. Watford found the back of the net, Caity, and it was a really good play. Edo Kiembe breaks up the ball in the middle of the park, plays it out wide to Jamal Lewis, then he drags the ball back to Emmanuel Dennis, who's there on a penalty spot, acres of space. Really good, intelligent run from Emmanuel Dennis. He didn't run into that near post. He held back because he knew that's the area he wanted the ball. Good save from the goalkeeper in goal for Leeds, but fell to Bakun Bayo, and I don't think he would hit a ball as sweet as that if he tried again, because that was fantastic strike.
Yeah, and it's a really good strike from him actually. When you see the angle that it's at, I mean, Rajovic is not scoring that, and he's Bayer's not been on good form as well. I was thinking, oh, I bet he skies this into a rose end. And then, he hits it really well. And, credit to him because I thought he had a great game on Friday, especially that partnership with him and Dennis. It was like watching a new player, them two, when they were playing together. And I think when Dennis went off, he sort of went back to being a bit flat. And sometimes when you're playing with Bayer, sometimes he does just need that support from someone else like Dennis. And I think the goal was deserved. We were on the front foot, and I think Leeds hadn't really even pressed us at all. So the goal was great, and there was limbs. The atmosphere was crazy after that first goal, and I think we deserved to be 1-0 up at that point.
No, definitely. And I was watching at home, and they showed a graphic after about 5 minutes, and I think Leeds had the ball in the Watford half for 1% of the game. That's how dominated Watford were, and it was nice to see because we've spoken absolutely ages, Mike, about slow starts for Watford at Vicarage Road. And actually, there was a stat from Andrew French that he put out earlier on today about how Watford have started under Tom Cleverley. So Tom Cleverley has been leading at halftime in both his games as Watford interim head coach. The Hornets have been ahead at the break in just 2 of the previous 37 championship fixtures. So it just shows that what Tom has said to the boys about being aggressive on the front foot straight away from a first whistle, not the second whistle, that's the second half, which we saw under Val. I don't know if it's helped because we were attacking the rookery as well to kind of suck the ball into the net. What's your thoughts about how Watford have started games under Tom?
Yeah, someone mentioned that on Twitter. Someone asked if we chose to flip the kick-off around. So I think from memory, from refereeing, if you lose toss, you get kick. And if you win, you get to choose which side you start. A lot of people think the opposite. So it would be interesting to know if we won the toss and therefore said we want to start and shoot that way to start with, because that was a tactic that Nigel Pearson used to use, and in the limited games that we had with him in charge, with fans in the stadium. But yeah, look, we've started really well. I mean, that Birmingham game wasn't anything to write home about, but I think at the stage we were at, we just needed the win. The performance, it didn't matter as long as a win come. And Clebs gets what it's like to play under the lights at Vicarage Road. I mean, you saw the video that the club put out. In that video of Clebs sort of doing his his pre-match press conference, they sort of snipped a clip of him scoring against Arsenal at the Vic, in front of the rookery, under the lights, on TV. He gets it, doesn't he? So, you know, and I really think that type of performance epitomised what Tom was about with his time at Watford. And we were very high energy, a bit like a hamster on a wheel, really. And it was really, really good stuff. And yeah, I was delighted. And that's the type of performance that I've wanted from my club all season. And unfortunately for Val, we just weren't doing it. And it is frustrating because it's the same bunch of players. But hopefully that respect is there for Clevs. He captained a lot of this team last season. And hopefully, you know, we keep him for the rest of the season, and we don't bring somebody in and then, you know, all of that nonsense. But if we keep fighting like we do, I mean, I think we're safe now anyway, but we keep fighting like we do, and we're going to pick up a few more points, and I think people think we will. So, yeah, absolutely delighted, and really took the game to Leeds. And Leeds were on a high. I was speaking to my mate Stocksy on the podcast before in the Leeds preview, and since we played them in September, they'd only lost 5 times since the second month of the season starting, which is outrageous. So the fact that we were able to take the game to them and really make Vicarage Road a tough place to come again, that is what we want. So, yeah, delighted. And let's hope we can take that momentum to the Hawthorns tomorrow, because it's not one I'm looking forward to.
No, definitely not. Gareth Quinton, hope you well, mate. Friday was one of the best we've played all season, in his opinion, closing them down from the front. And I think it was probably the best performance at Vicarage Road since the opening game of the season against QPR. But obviously this was better because of the opposition we was up against the league leaders, Leeds United, who can, when they're not playing well, they can just create something out of nothing. And that's exactly what they did, Caity, wasn't it? You can't give Somerville that amount of space on the edge of the box. He had a chance about 10 minutes beforehand where he tried to cut in on his right foot, and Batman got down low and made a smart save. So the warning signs were there. And then he had his second opportunity, and my God, did he take it. What a fantastic strike. In my opinion, I popped it in the group chat as soon as he scored that. I think he's hands down the best player in the championship. But it's difficult to defend against players like that, isn't it, Caity, in this division?
I was saying to my dad, I was like, if anyone has watched Leeds, they know that Somerville is like their best player, and they know that he can score goals like that because he's done it so many times this season. I was like, you should never give him that type of space on the edge of the box. Like you said, he'd done it about 10 minutes before. He was saying, "This is what I'm gonna do," and then we let him do it again. And it's an absolute screamer. It's a great goal. But he's capable of that. So you just try. Like, I would have even taken a foul before in the build up, because sometimes you just got to put yourself on the line and stop it. But it's a great goal. Not a lot you could have done about it, but it is about knowing and reading the game and seeing he is gonna try and do that once or twice or three times in a game. So just don't give him the space. But it's a great goal, and I do think, even though we were more on the front foot, I still think Leeds have that quality to score. Just if you give them the opportunity, they're going to score. And I feel like that's been so many of our games when we've played against the top 6 clubs. They don't look brilliant, but they get those moments of quality where they can have the gas off all game, but all they need is 30 seconds to score a goal. And that's been the story of so many of our games this season.
I think
it was like, sorry, Mike.
Sorry, Ben. I think just going on Somerville, I think Andrews had a really tough game. Like, that was, this is the Championship. This is a cut and thrust of it. I think he would have learnt a lot on Friday night, because that was by far his toughest, maybe, opponent so far since he made the breakthrough. And hopefully he has learnt
playing against like Premier League opposition as well, because he is that quality, isn't he, Somerville?
Yeah, absolutely is. And the fact that he did it not long before, you'd have thought, maybe someone of a bit more experience, a bit more caliber, would have done something to stop it. Like Caity said, maybe bring him down, take the yellow card early doors, or just take the hit and bring him down so he doesn't get that opportunity to cut in and shoot. And I just think Ryan would have learned a lot from Friday night, and hopefully he can use that to his advantage now. And look, he's been going away with England under 20s, and he's quite clearly a talented young lad. And games like that will only help him sort of progress as a player. So that's all I wanted to say on Andrews. But yeah, that Somerville is different gravy, and that's what we want Martins to do. Whenever we see him cut in and shoot, that's what we want. So yeah, he's different gravy though, Somerville.
That's just the difference in caliber of players, isn't it? Like, we've got Matthias Martin, who loves to cut in on his right foot. But the difference is Somerville, I don't know if everyone's watching the Football League show at the weekends after the fixtures. Like Caity says, Somerville does it week in, week out. It's the same goal, and it was the same for that guy who was at Burnley last year. He would always cut in and bend it in. Benson, was it? Yeah, like Benson, carbon copy each week, Manuel Benson. And Somerville's doing that this year. Like, no one can get close to him. He's got such quick feet. He can take 2 quick touches, you get it away from you, and then you've got no chance at all. So Batman, it couldn't do anything there at all. It was well hit. But what I liked about it, Caity, was heads didn't drop. Watford just kept on going, and we scored a goal within about 6 minutes afterwards, and it was so impressive. Long ball up the top to Emmanuel Dennis, who wins it in the air. Fantastic spring on Emmanuel Dennis. Like, he's like a fish out of water sometimes, the way he rises up to try and get to the ball, wins his head on it, and then he chases it down. He wins the ball back, cuts in on his left foot, a couple of set overs, and back of the net. That's the Emmanuel Dennis we saw in the Premier League, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what I was just about to say. I think we're really seeing the Dennis we had last season or season before, whenever he was here. That is the top, and he scored 2 in 2 in the last.
Yeah.
So now he's on a roll. Like, he struggled, I think, to find his feet in the team when he first came here. And we knew that he wasn't completely fit, but he's worked really hard in this team. He hasn't just been gifted the opportunity to play. He did have to work hard to get how he is now. And I think when I saw he'd only scored 4 goals for us, I thought, surely he scored more. It feels like he scores quite a lot. And I feel like every time he scored, it's been quite key goals and quite, really good goals. And when he was about to shoot, I'm thinking, don't be selfish. Bayo's right there, just pass the ball. Thinking, no way he scores this. And he does. And that's him proving us wrong, because he can score goals like that. Like we said, or someone said after the Birmingham game, I wouldn't trust Bayo or Rajovic to score the goal that he scored, but Dennis would, because he is that clinical finisher, and he just is miles above a lot of people in our squad, and it shows week in, week out. I think his goal was great, and it was well deserved, and we deserved to go ahead, because I think that first half we were the better side.
No, I totally agree. And you're saying how it feels like he's got more. He's only played 11 championship games and got 4 goals, because Val didn't throw him in straight away, did he? He was giving him 5 minutes here, then not playing him again, and giving him another 10 minutes, not playing him in the Southampton FA Cup game, which is puzzling if you wanted to try and get someone up to match fitness. But yeah, off late, 2-2 for Emmanuel Dennis. But Mike, my worry is at the moment is nursing a groin injury. We can only get 50 minutes out of him. The game did change when Emmanuel Dennis went off, because we didn't have that press up there.
Yeah, or is he nursing a groin injury? Or is Tom?
Who knows? Mind games.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to play the full 90 and get a hat trick tomorrow, and then we'll all celebrate on the podcast afterwards. But no, look, you said it in one of the group chats we were in, Ben, that as soon as Dennis went off, it just wasn't the same. And unfortunately, that is was it Rajovic? Listen, I had a few drinks on Friday, so you'll have to bear with me. But it was Rajovic.
Kone came on for him.
Who come on?
Kone,
that's it. Yeah, he didn't have a great game, I must admit.
No.
And obviously the shape would have changed with Kone coming on. It wouldn't have been like for like. He certainly wouldn't have gone up front with Bayo. But look, it's not the same. Yes, Dennis has got his critics, and yes, I still don't think he's fully match fit. And a lot of the time, look at that Birmingham game, he did absolutely naff all. And then one bit of brilliance where, well, not even brilliance, it's just simple football. It's just an instruction he's been told. Press the ball as high as you can. He's done that, and he's scored the winning goal, and we've got 3 points. Like Caity said, the last couple of goals he scored have been key ones. Before that, every time he scored, we'd lost. So he scored against Leicester, he scored against Huddersfield, and then obviously he's got the winning goal against Birmingham, and then obviously scored on Friday night as well. But yeah, look, the intensity wasn't there, and that, I think that was Dennis's best performance last night since he returned to the club from Nottingham Forest. And if that's how he's going to play going forward, absolutely.
Do you think that's possibly his best performance since he's came back because he's a bit more fitter? Or do you think the change of formation helped him? Did it help that he had 2 up there? He had Bayo, who was doing equally the same amount of pressing. Do you think that might have strikes a bit more fear into the defence of Leeds because they stood off him for that goal where he scored in front of the rookery?
Yeah, listen, every game he plays, he's going to build up match fitness, isn't he? Look, without being too disrespectful here, he's been playing in the Turkish league. I think Josh King is ripping it up in the Turkish league. So that probably tells you everything you need to know in terms of what standard that's at. But he's come back over. And yeah, it's understandably, it's going to take a bit of time for him to get used to. But yeah, I think that he just improving game on game. And I know he didn't do a great deal against Birmingham, but I think wasn't he carrying a knock against Birmingham as well? He had to come off because he was injured, wasn't he?
Been carrying a knock since he returned to WD18.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but no, look, he was brilliant. And do you know what I really liked as well? The partnership that him and Bayo had. Bayo was back to his best of. He was winning pretty much almost everything in the air. He was strong. He was aggressive. He was non-stop. He was in the face. And yes, Bayo doesn't score the amount of goals that we would like him to, but my God, does he work hard for the team? And ultimately, that's what we want. Yes, we wanted to score goals because he's a striker, but ultimately, that is what we want. And I'm delighted that Bayo got his goal. It's been a long time coming. I mean, I can't think when his last
goal was away to Preston where he got 2.
Yes, yeah, I was there, and I still can't remember it. So, yeah, he was. He's been due that because that was before Christmas. So, I'm delighted for Bayo, and I think he's going to be in these next few games. I think he's going to be key. And I don't be surprised. So that's his 7th in all competitions now, I believe. Don't be surprised if he gets double figures in all comps and finishes top goal scorer for us.
Oh,
Only 3 behind Rajovic.
Yeah,
Rajovic,
it's 3 behind Rajovic, and Rajovic can't get a kick now, can he?
Exactly.
And that says a lot, really, about what Tom really thinks of Rajovic. Obviously, Rajovic is on 10 goals. He's obviously been going to games this season, and Tom Cleverley, whenever the under-16s haven't been playing, he's been getting down to the Vic. So he has been watching games. So I just think it speaks volumes that Bio has been starting and half injured. Dennis as well, and Rajovic, he came on for about 5 minutes the other night. So yeah, it's interesting. But like I said, it did change as soon as Emmanuel Dennis went off, and we was getting a bit deeper and deeper and deeper, inviting pressure on because there was no one up there to hold up the ball. Although I did think Bio was brilliant, like you said, Mike. So special mention to Vacuum Bio. I thought he was brilliant. He was everywhere. But the interview after the game with the club website, he basically said that he was pleased with the goal, but he needs to be doing better. So he was very critical of his performance still, even though we all think that was probably one of his better performances in the Watford shirt. And I hope he gets the opportunities for the rest of the season with us. But Caity, it's 5 minutes to go. Leeds, they made a change from the bench, and it was like 20 seconds off the bench. He scored with his first touch. It was Joseph scrambled the ball over the line, and I just imagine being in a rookery, it was just felt a bit deflated after that went in because it was a sucker punch, wasn't it? It was. We didn't deserve that. We played so well, defended really well. Batman made fantastic saves as well, and I'll talk about Batman more in a bit. But it was a sucker punch, wasn't it? That second goal from Leeds.
And do you know what happened? I mean, I'm not sure if this was on TV, but the announcer, I don't know what his name is, when he was announcing him coming on, he like made fun of his name. Like he's done it before where he goes like a bit of like a questioning of who they are, like as if he's never heard of them. And he did that when he
does that.
Well, he did it when the guy came on, and I literally was like, "Why have you done that?" Because he did it at the
Bristol City game, wasn't it?
Yeah, at Bristol City. Yeah, and then we lost like 3-0 or whatever we lost, and he did it for that guy, and then he literally scored 20 seconds later. And I said to my dad, I was like, "Why has he done that? He's literally just confirmed the goal for him." I mean, I don't know why he did it, but yeah, it was super deflating. But I think we all knew that it was coming. I mean, we'd completely gone on the back foot, which I wasn't like annoyed about because again, Leeds obviously they looked strong when they had their break on like coming forward, but I also don't think like they weren't doing a lot. It was a lot of just like passing around and then they would kind of look for the opening. So we looked comfortable defending, but you also can't trust Watford with a lead because we aren't good enough to do that. Regardless of how well we're playing, most teams can't really do that. So I think when Dennis went off, we lost like you said, we lost the press up front. So, you know, it was hard for Bayer to kind of get back into the game. Kone was, I mean, I don't even know what he was doing, not really doing anything. No, everyone sort of just went on the back foot a bit. But, you know, we defended well until the goal, and the goal was very scrappy. I mean, Bachmann saves it originally, and then it is just kind of a scramble into the back of the net. So I think we knew it was coming, but it was very disheartening. But you know, glad that we kind of held out till the end.
Yeah, luckily we held out, like you say, and got a well-deserved draw with top of the table Leeds United as well. But they were 13 games unbeaten coming to Vicarage Road as well. So that's how good of a run they were on, and to dominate that first 55 minutes against them, I think it's credit to Tom Cleverley and the way he set up the team, and credit also to the players as well. Like Mike said earlier, it's the same bunch of players that had Val, but they obviously really like Clevs and they're giving absolutely everything for him and they're buying into the ideas. So yeah, fair play to them. So Mike finished 2-2 against Leeds United on Good Friday. Initial thoughts on the overall performance and result?
Overall performance, much better. Exactly what we've been after. And the fact that we're disappointed that we took a 2-2 draw, I'm happy with that. I think that shows.
You would have taken a point going into the game, definitely, as well, wouldn't you?
I said on the preview with the Leeds fan, I'd have snapped your hand off for the scrappiest 0-0 you've ever seen in your life. So the fact that we sat here disappointed that we didn't hang on to a 2-1 win, yeah. I mean, look, it was a couple of weeks ago that we took the lead against relegation threatened Huddersfield, and they come back and beat us. So the fact that we're now a couple of weeks down the line and we've got a club legend in charge and we've just drawn 2-2 with top of the league, yeah, I'll take that. Thank you very much. So, yeah, you know, delighted for Clevs as well. He just gets it. I saw someone on Twitter the other day, right, say, I'm not having, like, he'll get all this love in and people will say that he gets it, but he does get it because he's a Watford legend. He knows what it's like to play in front of that crowd. He knows what the Vic can do. I mean, you talk about some of the games where it's been rocking, you know, obviously beating Liverpool 3-0, we've beaten Man U, we've beaten all the big sort of big six other than Man City. We've beaten them at home. And, you know, we know what it's like to put in big shifts and have the crowd behind us. So, yeah, you know, I'm absolutely delighted. And long may it continue because our home form has been shocking this season, and that just doesn't sit right with me. I mean, it's been brilliant going away from home and picking up points. Nothing better than going to a different town or city and coming away with the 3 points and feeling smug. But when you're at home, no, that should always be a hard place to come. Vicarage Road should.
Well, hopefully we end the season well at home because the fans have been put through so much in the last few years, and it started to look okay at home for the start of the season, but it just tailed off massively. Like our last home wins is against Norwich at the end of November. Like the fans haven't had much to cheer about at Vicarage Road, but there was a glimpse. Klebs gave us a glimpse of maybe what's to come under him for the rest of the season. Caity, who was your man of the match on Friday?
Well, I think everyone played very well. I think it's hard to narrow it down. I think I said Jamal Lewis because I think he was probably the most improved because I always feel like everyone criticized. I feel like I've always criticized him after every game and said, yeah, like he's not doing well. And everyone was, I think even like a couple weeks ago, everyone was being like, yeah, like he literally should be dropped. He's kind of bad. I think Pollock again, like he would die for Watford. That man puts himself on the line every single game. He's going in for every challenge, even if he is a bit sloppy at times. He's going for those second balls. He's going for those challenges. He's going for the risks. He doesn't back away. It's really refreshing to see how much he actually cares about the club, and you see that in his game. And I also think Dennis, because of the goals and just the energy he adds to the team. And the one thing that I thought about us on Friday is we weren't predictable. Every drive forward was something different. For like other games we've watched and we've been super boring, it's because we're always trying the same thing. The team suss you out within the first 5 minutes, but Cleverly has brought this like new energy to everyone because even though he might be out of experience, he was a player like not like last year. Like he played for this club, and I think he knows what it like. He just gets it. Like he just gets it. And I think with him and what we saw on Friday was every time we were driving forward, it was a different attack or different channels of the pitch, and I think it confused Leeds because I don't think they expected that at all. So that's why I thought Dennis as well, because he was always in charge of those attacks and changing it up and making Leeds be like, oh, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? But I also said a special mention to Backman because I thought he had a really good game as well, especially with the criticism he's been having when he came back into the team. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, I'll go next before I go to Mike. My man of the match was Tom Delly. I thought he was fantastic in the middle of the park. I thought he ran things. I thought it's going to be difficult for Jake Livermore to get back into his team after the last two performances from Tom Delly. He's more mobile. He moves the ball quicker. I just thought he kept us ticking over in the midfield, and he drives the ball forward as well. He's not afraid to try and take on a man to get past him either in that position. And I just thought everything went through him, and he kept the ball ticking and kept us on the front foot. And I thought he was a massive part of how well we played on Friday, sorry, and there was a quote from Tom Cleverley after the game as well, saying, "From the player I left 18 months ago to see now, he's progressing really well." And I think we've seen that massively in the last two games, Birmingham away and also Leeds at home. That there's something about Tom Delly, and I would probably start him against West Brom again, and I'll keep starting him ahead of Jake Livermore as well, because of how mobile he is and how much energy he provides that midfield. And Jake Livermore did absolutely fantastic when he came in, and he plugged the gap. But I think we're seeing here massively that he can offer something for Watford long-term future. I don't think necessarily we might need a CDM desperately in the summer if Tom keeps progressing the way he has done. And then, like Caity, special mention to Daniel Batman. I think he's been fantastic in the last two games. I think he's up there as the top three players in the last two games. If it wasn't for him away at Birmingham, we wouldn't have came away with 3 points. We wouldn't have got a point against Leeds if it wasn't for him as well. He made a fantastic save with his feet as well. I just think we've been quick enough to jump on Daniel Batman's back earlier in the season, but we've also got to remember he was asked to play out from a back with his feet. The moment Tom Cleverley's came in, there's been a change of approach. He's told him to go direct, and Daniel Batman seems comfortable and he seems happy with the way he's playing, and that's coming across. And if Daniel Batman's is happy playing that way and he's been told to play that way, I am fully behind Daniel Batman, because I think he's been fantastic the last two games. Mike, your man of a match, or a couple of man of the matches?
Yeah, well, just to add another game off the back, I know it's not recent, but Swansea away. Bachmann, we won that game because Bachmann, he made a fantastic save in the last minute, my God, or late on at least. So, yeah, fair play. And look, I think Bachmann's game, if it's been simplified and if Tom's just said to him, look, mate, you're a good shot stopper, probably one of the best in the league, but just fucking calm down, all right? And just play it simple and just relax. And that's what Bachmann can do. So I think maybe the captaincy went to his head a little bit. I've no doubt the guy's got so much passion and love for Watford, but there's different ways to display and to bring out that passion. Sometimes he's like an absolute madman. And you're like, look, we get it. You're passionate, but just calm it down. So I think maybe Tom's pulled him to one side and said, keep doing what you're doing in certain respects, but just bring it down a bit. And let's not forget as well, he has said that who is the on-field captain, whereas Bachmann is the club captain, who will be the on-field. And there was a couple of comments further back. We've had quite a few comments tonight, which is great, by the way, guys. But a few comments back about whether who starts for us, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's not forget that if he comes back in, he will most likely get the captain's armband. But yeah, Bachmann last night, I keep thinking my days are all over the place. Bachmann on Friday was very good. However, I have to agree with what Philip Crouch has said. For me, we saw the Sierra of old on Friday. We saw the Sierra
Maldini.
Yes, we saw the Sierra that was part of the equaling best record defensively at home in that lockdown season, that equaled Preston's record defensively. He was unbelievable. He was an absolute rock. And do you know what? Again, it's going back to simplifying the game, because you think about it, he's come in and Ismail's come in, and he's been like, right, you play in that number 6 role and you play that defensive midfield role. And yeah, he might have played, Sierra, I think, played in that sort of defensive midfield role at one of his old clubs, but that's not his natural position. And like Gareth's just said, you just sometimes, when things have gone to shit, it's just so easy sometimes to just come in and say, right, I'm simplifying it, I'm stripping it back to the basics. I don't want to go off on a tangent too much here, but I remember when Neil Warnock went in somewhere, not recently, but a couple of years ago, and the club he went into was absolute shitstorm. And he sat down, yeah, possibly, or it might even have been before that. And he sat down with each player and says, right, where do you play? Defence. Okay, what's your job as a defender? well, to make sure the ball doesn't go into to clear it when it's down. Okay, yeah, you do that then. And simplifying it. And sometimes there's so much gobbledygook with tactics and XG and all that bollocks nowadays in football. Sometimes you sit down and you say, right, this is your job, you do that. It simplifies it. You go back to basics and it can fix a simple problem like that. We're seeing it with Bachmann at the moment. Hopefully it continues. And Sierralta, for me, Sierralta keeps his place. And for what it's worth, those that are asking about who, if I'm Pollock or Porteous and I'm missing out, I'm feeling really hard done by because they've been superb the last couple of games as well. So it's a good problem to have again.
We'll get on the team selection for West Brom very soon. I know it was a heated debate in the group chat yesterday, so we will jump onto that in a bit. But I'll just go through everyone else's men of the matches. Gareth said KMB. Philip Crouch, Sierralta. Couple here for Matty Pollock as well. Jess, hope you're well, Jess. Pollock was man of the match for her. Warwick Bird, Pollock was very solid, and also Tom Delly. And then Mark Schofield, KMB as well. So yeah, looking at all of that, it just shows how well we played. There's lots of contenders here, but we played so well. What I want to discuss about quickly now, Caity, is Tom Cleverley. What I like about him is the freshness and the positivity and the confidence he's given the players. Like, for example, I feel like it's a second turning for some of these players, like a new leaf. And for example, a few people who have taken it by storm since he's came in, I think, where is it? I've written it down. I've lost it completely. Daniel Batman, Porteous, and Tom Delly, those three people especially, they look like they've just embraced it so well, and they just want to play well for Clevs. But do you think that because he was a player at the end of last season, he's obviously got the players on board straight away, which is helping, and they're just buying into his ideas because of that connection?
Yeah, and I have this also idea that he's kind of gone, right, what did you not like about what Val was doing? Because Val was very set in
Everything.
his way. Yeah. Val was very set in his ways, and he was playing lots of, people out of position because and when it wasn't working, he was still like, no, we're sticking with this. This is what I'm choosing to do. And week in, week out, we saw it wasn't working and there needed to be a change. But he was so reluctant to change and just stick with everything. Now I can kind of see Cleverly, obviously he's got his coaching ideas and stuff, but I can kind of see them working in more of a like collaborative role and being like, well, how do you want to play? What do you think your strengths are? And obviously he knows what these players' strengths are because he's played with them.
Yeah.
And when you talk about simplifying it down, I think that is so important with the squad that we have, because with Bachmann under Val, when he was playing out from the back all the time, and all the weird like decision making that he does, like, it was really poor for him. That's why everyone was like jumping down his neck, being like, why is he playing like this? And maybe that was just what Val was telling him to do. And now you see with Cleverly, he doesn't show any signs of this nervy, shaky goalkeeper that we see. And every time he's played the ball out, it's done with, it's simplified. It's okay, pick the ball up and play it out. None of this, putting everyone on the edge of their seat and, teasing the attacking players of the other team. Like, it's clear that he has simplified the game down, and he has said, no, Deli Bashiru, you work best in midfield. That's where you're going to play. We're not just going to put you here because I think you might play well here. Yeah, we'll put you in right back because I think you might do well there. Obviously not. It's not his position. And even, on Friday with Kone playing out of position, that was just what we had to do. It probably wasn't decided that he was going to play there. But, he's playing people how they should play. That's why Sierralta and Deli Bashiru are having good games, because they're playing in the positions they should play in. So I think he has approached this with a very open mind, but also he's such a nice guy. Like, I feel like they see him as a friend and a manager. Not that they disrespect him, but they definitely see him as someone who isn't gonna force them to do something that they don't want to do. And I just feel like they get each other slightly more. And I think as fans as well, we definitely see him as, you know, a breath of fresh air in the club, which is, you know, good for us because I obviously I think we're pretty safe now. All I want to see is a team that try, and I enjoy watching the games for the last however many games are left. And he is clearly getting the best out of these players, and it's been 2 games. I mean, who knows what's going to happen on tomorrow or in a few weeks' time? But it's clear that what he's doing is working, and he's had time to put his style in place. You know, he had last week, and you know we were great against Leeds. Why shouldn't we be great for the rest of the season?
Well, if you can perform like that against the best team in the league, you can do it with the rest of the league. Mark Schofield says Tom Cleverley is getting the best out of the players, and the players playing them in their best positions, and that's what we saw with Val. He was putting people out of position, and we saw it with Siriota playing central midfield, Tom Delly playing right back, Ryan Andrews being sat on the bench. So he's just simplifying things, isn't he? And obviously he's got that connection with the players. The man management's probably a lot easier for him as well because he knows how to treat them as players and men because he's been around them for years. I think he said in the pre-match interview with Sky Sports, he basically said, I knew 90% of these players last season, which he does. He's only having to get to know a few of the new players now, but he's been in and around the scene, so it's much easier, smooth movement for him. We had a couple of questions earlier, Mike, that came in, so thank you very much everyone who sent your questions through social media. We'll just go through them now, but they're all quite similar, so I will read them out though. So Louis R.2468 said, should Cleverley, if he keeps this form up, get the job permanently at the end of the season? And then also Mike, Russ Putnam said, regular listener Russ, I hope you're well, mate. Would you give Clevs the job full time, or would you like to see someone else come into the club?
I mean, at the moment, I can't think of anyone that I would be like, right, we have to go out and get him. Like, well, reasonable, like realistically anyway. For me, of course, I would love Tom to take the job full time, especially with. See, I say that though, with 2 games in, like the rest of the season could go belly up for all we know, but at least Tom gets what we're after and Tom understands the club. But my worry about all this is, let's say we give Tom the job and next season he loses, there's a month where he loses 5 in a row or something. We're going to be in the same position. It wasn't long ago, if you think about it, that Val was going through a spell which was pretty barren and pretty bad. And so many of us were like, no, let's stick with it. Like, this is where we usually pull the trigger. We stuck with it. We got that little run together. And we were then all of a sudden talking about playoffs. And then Val, we went through another spell where it was really bad. And then we'd won 1 in 11. And then we were talking about relegation. And it's just how quickly things can change. And I do worry that given any sort of bad run, the Pozzos would just get rid. And I just can't think about that with it being Tom Cleverley. I know that might sound bad on the other managers we've had, but it just wouldn't sit right with me that they'd do that to a club legend like Clevs. And yeah, if the Pozzos go, then yeah, Cleverley all the way. But for the pure reason of not wanting him to be fucked around, then I would have to say no, because I know what the Pozzos are like. But I mean, look, I'd love him to be full-time manager. But one thing I will say as well, next season, getting an ex-player to assist him or at least be on his coaching staff. Gary Rowett and Paul Robinson are in at the Birmingham City at the moment. Whether they stay on, I don't know how their season will pan out or what the permutations are there. But if Robbo doesn't stay next season at Birmingham City, get him in. I would even go as far as saying maybe Troy on the coaching staff. Yes, there's a lot of question marks because of his time at Forest Green, but I would like to think he's learnt his lesson. He's learnt that maybe he can't go about doing the things he had done the way that
I think
he did.
he's won over a few Watford fans lately with how he's spoken about the club in the last couple of weeks as well, because he had that interview, I don't know who it was, at the start of the summer when he was talking about speed bumps at London Coney. He ruffled a few feathers and Watford fans didn't maybe look at him in the same light. He's had a few good interviews with Sky lately and he was excellent on the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast, came across really well and came across like he cared about the club and it's his club, he basically said, and he knows that his chapter at the club isn't over and he probably will return one day. So that's refreshing, isn't it, Mike?
It is, and he said as well, which was quite interesting. Look, we know Troy loves a story and he might embellish a few things as well when he tells stories, but he said that the reason that Filthy Fellas podcast, which you were referring to, Ben, that one in the summer, the reason that come out is because he was pissed off that the talks broke down with Watford and Ben Manga leaving and everything else. So, you know, we could have been in a position where he's already at the club, but because of people leaving and whatnot, or people being putting obstacles in way, I don't know. But and as Mark's just said here as well, a lot of contacts and perhaps get a couple of young Man U loanees in. And look, in the past, how many Man U loanees have we had? We've had Kushak, Cleverley himself, Cathcart. I think Drinkwater initially came from Manchester United as well. Chris Eagles, Danny Webber, you know, just to name a few. So if we can get that sort of link going back up again, I know Jimmy Garner was I think Jimmy Garner was the last Man U loanee we had. So perhaps didn't go quite to plan on both parties there. But look, you know, Clevs he's a very, very sort of respected man in the game. And I know Sir Alex called him when the news was broke about him getting the position. And, you know, he mentioned a few other names who text him as well. And it's quite clear to see that he's very respected within the game. So, yeah, look, long answer is, yeah, I would take him. But I would be a little bit reserved about the Potsos sort of fucking him over a little bit, I think.
So unlike you to give a long answer, Mike.
That's why I'm here, my friend. That's why I'm here.
The thing is with Tom Cleverley, I wasn't too sure what to expect when he was given the interim for the rest of the season. Obviously, we was on a really poor run of form. We was looking over our shoulders, and I was like, is the Tom Cleverley appointment what we need at the moment? And I was like, what if it goes terribly wrong and it just doesn't end well for Tom Cleverley? And I really worried about that, but he's proved me completely wrong about my thoughts, and he's done a tremendous job. And I think that having him at the helm is helping the club at the moment. Caity, we got a question from Gareth Quinton as well. He wants to know, how many points do you think we could get for the remaining fixtures?
Okay, so I remember thinking about a couple of weeks ago, I remember when Val was still here and everyone was like, I don't think we're going to pick up any more points this season. And I genuinely thought that we might not. I thought if Birmingham was our chance to sort of get at least some points, but I really didn't think that we were going to get any more past there. Now, with Cleverley in charge, I'm thinking, okay, I think Monday, I think we win. I think we win tomorrow. I think we get a good win. I think Preston at home is where we finally win at home. I think we can do it. If we win on Monday, I think we do it on Saturday.
Have you just gone for back-to-back wins?
Yeah, wow. I have.
Okay. I'll take it. I'm not going to throw it away and be like, don't want that. Yeah, I like it. Positivity.
No, I think back-to-back wins. Wow. However, I think Ipswich and Southampton, I think will lose those because, you know, the title race is you know, it's tight up there. So I think they'll definitely be trying to get wins here and there. I think home to Hull and home to Sunderland, off the back of 2 losses, I could see us maybe getting draws there. So maybe a draw against both, maybe one win if we're feeling super positive. For Middlesbrough, at the end of the season, I don't know really. I think that could kind of go either way. I could kind of see it being maybe like a draw, maybe a win. Who knows if we're, you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know we've only won like one game, but So I think how many points is that? 6, 8, maybe like 8 more points, maybe 11 if we're feeling lucky with a win on the last day. But who knows? We'll have to see.
The thing is, now we've got 49 points. We're 10 points clear of the relegation zone. And the teams down the bottom, since we sacked Val, they have all kind of stopped winning. And it's given us that little bit of breathing space. And I think if we just, we'll all say it now, we're safe for another season in the Championship, and that's down to the work of what Tom Cleverley's done in the last 2 games. So hats off to him. But yeah, I think maybe about 6 or 7 points for the rest of the season we might pick up, and I'll take that as long as it's entertaining and we're fighting and it's getting bums off seats and we're clapping the players off after 90 minutes because we saw a lot of effort and we enjoyed the football we watched. That's all I want out of this Watford team, and I hope we see that. And look, Birmingham away was a hard, like, rolled up sleeves performance where we got it over the line and got 3 points. But the Leeds game was so encouraging. To play like that at home against the best in the league was just incredible. So hopefully we can do the same. West Brom tomorrow, on the other hand, Mike, you touched on it earlier, very, very difficult. I think our last win there was in 2016 in the Premier League, our first year back in the Premier League. Ben Watson got the goal. It was a 1-0 Watford win. Hilario Gomez saved 2 penalties for Watford, I think in the 67th minute and then in the 87th minute saved Saido Barahino's penalties. So that's the last time we've won away at West Brom. But looking at the form of Watford against West Brom, we're actually unbeaten in the last 6 games we've played them. We've drawn 3 and won 3. For a reverse fixture at Vicarage Road was 2-2 earlier in the season. I think we took the lead twice and they pulled us back as well. But that was a frustration game because West Brom was there for the taking. They were nowhere near as good as what they are now. Obviously, we're in the playoff positions now. But Mike, what are you expecting from this game at Hawthorns tomorrow?
I'm expecting a tough game. Look, they're up there in the playoffs, aren't they? And I think there's that gap now between them and whoever gets the last playoff spot. So let's be real. They'll be in the playoffs unless a massive, massive slip up for them. They'll be in the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, when you said to me, we were looking up the last time, and I said, look, our record at the Hawthorns isn't great. And when you said we were unbeaten in 6 against them, I was a little bit surprised because it just doesn't feel like that. But I've never seen us win at the Hawthorns. But I think Gareth makes a good point there. I've got my fan hub app here. I've done 9 games this season, and we've won 8 of them and drawn 1. And 6 of them have been away, and 3 have been at home. So I've not seen us lose yet this season. Now, obviously, now I've just broadcast that to everyone watching, and it's on YouTube. We're going to lose. So I regret doing that massively. I should have thought about that. But no, look, it's going to be a tough game. They'll want to keep winning. There's how many games left of the season. They'll want momentum going into the playoffs. And, you know, the place will be sort of buzzing, I think, because they're doing well. And it looks like maybe a return on the cards to the Premier League for them after a couple of seasons out. But I am feeling a little bit confident because Tom's set us up in a way so far that we've wanted to see hard-working players. And at the end of the day, that is all we want to see from the team, is that they continuously work hard. And if we play like we did against Leeds, I've got every confidence that we can come away with a game with a point or 3. So yeah, you know, expecting a really tough game, absolutely. But at the same time, I've got every reason to be slightly confident because of what I saw on Friday.
Yeah, I should really stop looking at the stats on West Brom because they're actually unbeaten in the last 6 games. The 6 games being drawing away at Hull 1-1, beating Coventry 2-1, drawing 2-2 away to QPR, beating Huddersfield 4-1 away, winning 2-0 at home to Bristol City, and then their last game on Good Friday, they drew 1-1 away to Millwall. So they're in decent form, but why not, Caity? Why can't we go there and, like you predicted earlier, why can't we go there and pick up a victory? Because the players seem to be enjoying themselves under Tom Cleverley. They look like they've got that confidence back. Why not go to West Brom, who are 5th in the table, and get another upset?
Yeah, and we thought Leeds was going to be a really tough game, and they were top of the table and in great form. They hadn't lost since like the 23rd of December or something. I mean, I think they've drawn a game here and there, but I thought that I was happy. I was going to be happy with a 1-0, 2-0 loss. I was like, just don't get thrashed. So you know, anything's possible in the Championship. Anything can happen. I think West Brom have had a couple, like, not bad results recently, but I think they've had a couple more draws here and there. I think if we go at it, I mean, the thing is we've got nothing to lose now. We're not going down, we're not going up. You might as
bit of
well
freedom.
play. Exactly, you might as well play the most attacking team, let them do their thing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Hey ho, at least it was entertaining. I think that's the best thing about Cleverley. He's not got a lot of pressure on him, so he can kind of do what he wants, and he's not going to get, no one's going to turn on him and be like, why aren't we going for playoffs? I mean, there's probably people who are doing that, but I think that's what we have to do. We just have to go for it. Friday showed us it doesn't matter where you are on the table, you can still take the game to them, and I think if we play how we did on Friday, I think 100% we can get a result.
I think Mike woke up a bit hungover today because he was saying that Watford were going to make the playoffs. He said it in a couple of group chats that I'm in. So there is people out there believing it, Caity. We'll just go through a few stats on some of West Brom players this season. Obviously, we use SofaScore, and their top 3 rated players this season. First is Alex Mower in midfield. He's 7.21 out of 10. Second is Darnell Furlong. He's 7.10 out of 10. And then third is Cedric Kipre, 7.60 out of 10. Top goal scorers is Brandon Thomas Asante, leading away with 9 goals this season. I do really rate him. I think his quality is a lively guy up top. He can hit the ball from anywhere and it will probably go in. John Swift in midfield's got 8, he just scores from long distance all the time. I think he got 2 against Huddersfield the other week as well. Clean sheets. I wanted to mention clean sheets because Huddersfield, they don't tend to leak too many goals. Alex Palmer in the West Brom net, he's got 16 clean sheets this season, which is the second most in the division. So yeah, it could be a difficult afternoon at the Hawthorns. Mike, what would your starting lineup be? Would you keep maybe the 3-5-2 formation that Clev's adopted against Leeds? Would Wesley Hoot come straight back in for you? Talk to me.
I would go with the same 11. I'd go with the same 11. And yes, that does mean I wouldn't start Hoot. Yes, Hoot has played really well this season. However, for me, Pollock has done really well recently. Porteous has been different gravy. And I think as well with Porteous, he plays in a back 3 for Scotland. And the last few games for Scotland, he's impressed. So he knows the system, if we've got to stick with that system. And then Sierrota. So, if Cam or Joe watches back, then, yeah, that is what I think. And I know Cam was defending Hoot to the hills the other day. But for me, those 3 have played too well to drop them. And why change something that's working? So I would go with the same team. Look, if Dennis is injured, then I think we'd be stuck and we might even have to change the system. But if Dennis is fit enough to start, then yeah, same team for me.
Well, he did a little TikTok video or a little video after the game, and he ended it by saying, "See you Monday." And I do think that Watford are wrapping him up in cotton wool. They're letting him play 50 minutes, and he'll go down and waste a bit of time, especially when we're leading, and then he'll go off and he'll be fine again for the next fixture. So I do think Emmanuel Dennis is going to start, even if Clev says he wasn't fit. We know he'll probably fit. He'll probably start. For me, you have to. I know that the back 3 have done a tremendous job, especially Porteous and Pollock. You have to find a way of getting Wesley Hoot into this team. He's by far our best defender. He's been a player of the season. He's left-footed as well, so he'll help the balance of the team. He'll probably help set us on our attack a bit quicker, being left-footed down Jamal Lewis's side. So, and I know it's harsh, but I'd rather Wesley Hoot into the team ahead of Matty Pollock. And I know that it sounds really harsh because he has been tremendous in those last few games. But if you're Matty Pollock, you know you weren't going to get many game times this season. So he knows he's going to be in and out of the team anyway. And if anything, this is going to drive him on because he's going to want to come back into the side to show us what he can do. And one thing that sticks into my mind is against a bit of pace, Matty Pollock turns like a bus. We saw it away at Sheffield Wednesday where he nearly got sent off. He got yellow carded. Then 30 seconds later, he nearly got a second yellow card because the same person turned him. And I just think away from home, we don't really need that. I think against Birmingham, you could do it, but away to West Brom, I want my best central defender in there. So Wesley, who comes in for me, and that'll be my only change. I'll keep Chak on the bench as well. I would love to find a way for him into the team, but you can't take out Kiembe or Tom Delly or even Jesper Espria for him. So the only change I would make is Wesley Hoot. What about you, Caity?
I'm kind of the same. However, I would take him out and I would put Georgie in.
Okay.
Only because I think that I don't know, I just thought he didn't have a very good game. Apart from a few moments here and there, I thought he was a bit of the weak link in midfield on Friday. And I think Georgie helps the attack so much that he is the one person on that bench who I think needs to play because it's almost like we were missing that spark of attack in midfield. I would keep the same defence, however, I think Hoot will come back in. I would have wanted to keep Pollock, but I do think he will bring him back in. Like you said, it's kind of hard because it is harsh on Pollock, but he has been outstanding all season. Every game he's played, apart from these last two or one other or something. And yes, okay, you can criticise that sometimes Hoot has made a mistake, but every player has made a mistake here and there. And I think, like I said in the chat, Hoot's up there for player of the season. He can't he can't say like, oh well, you wouldn't bring him in because he's earned his place already. And I think Pollock has earned a place in the team, but I also think dropping him isn't going to make him like upset. I do think that maybe he will use this as a way to get back into the team and use it as a motivation. So I want him to play because I do think he did a great job on Friday, but I think Hoot will come back in just because, he's the captain.
Are we all in the agreement now? I know Mike said that he didn't think Hoot would come in, but if Hoot does return, are we all kind of in the agreement that it would be for Matty Pollock because we saw enough from Sirielta and obviously Porteous if we are to play a 3-5-2?
Yeah, I think so. That's where my head goes to if you're going to drop someone.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I just think with the experience of Sirielta and how commanding he was at the back, like won every single header, and I just thought it was fantastic. And it was like, oh, we got Sirielta. I forgot he plays defence. I thought he was just that makeshift centre midfielder, but he impressed me. It was like, Jesus, yeah, this is what we've missed at the back, and it was refreshing to see. I think Mark Schofield is bang on here. All three centre halves played well against Leeds, as did the whole team, but they could be tired after playing like Friday night. So for that reason, he thinks Hoot's going to come back in just to be a bit of freshness as well. You got to remember, Hoot played every minute of the league until he got suspended, so he's been out now. So he's going to come in nice and fresh. So I just think it's a good time to bring him back in as well. But
yeah,
I think maybe there could be more changes, and that's down to maybe the Friday fixture. There's only been 2 days in between the 2 games, so I wouldn't be surprised. I know with Mike said unchanged, me and Caity said 1 change, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe 2-3 changes just for that element of freshness. Do you think that could happen, Mike?
Sorry, I didn't realise I was on mute. Yeah, no, possibly. And look, I hope there's a crossover period soon, maybe when we pick up a few more points, that we start seeing a few youngsters bled into the squad, because Cleverley knows them, don't they? So, maybe we will see that young lad who was left back play, and maybe we'll see some of the other young lads play. But yeah, maybe the turnaround of the quick fixtures means that clubs will be maybe forced into a couple of changes. I think, like we said at the top of the show, the fact that he's been so unpredictable at times with saying people are out when they're not, I think it keeps us on our toes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see wholesale changes on Monday, but then tomorrow, but then also wouldn't be surprised if we saw an unchanged side. So yeah, but I'm just glad that at the moment we're not relying on getting these results, because this is a tough Easter.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier. The Baggies have won 7 of their last league games at the Hawthorns as well, keeping 5 clean sheets in those victories as well. Caity, let's have a score prediction from you.
I'm going to go 3-1 to Watford.
Cool. Entertaining or what? Caity's on fire.
Wow.
Positivity. Mike, you missed it when you went for a piss. I did mention it earlier when you went off camera, but Caity was very positive. She thinks we're going to win our next 2 games, but then it might go downhill with Ipswich and Southampton. But what about your score prediction, Mike?
I think 2-0 to West Brom. Unfortunately, I'd love the feel-good factor of Clem to continue. But yeah, I don't know. I've never seen us win at West Brom, and I've got some real bad memories at the Hawthorns.
You've not seen us lose all season.
I haven't, but that's bound to come to an end. Like, there's no way, because West Brom
came out now, Caity.
Yeah.
West Brom's going to be my last game that I go to this season. So there is no way on this earth that every game that I go to is going to be unbeaten. There's just no way. Watford just wouldn't do that to me. So
I'm coming back to this. I'm coming back to this clip.
But yeah, I think West Brom will have too much for us, and that's mad to think, because we've just played top of the league. But so Mark can buy me a 4-pack of my choice as well if we win 3-1. But yeah, 2-0. I think. What about you, Ben? You in the confident camp?
For everyone who's listening on the podcast, Mark Schofield says if Watford win 3-1, I will buy Caity a 4-pack of her choice. He probably doesn't think it's going to happen either. Well, I can't remember if I've been to West Brom to see us win, but what I did see was Richarlison's last-minute equaliser, and I actually took Kate and my wife along to that game, and we was early on into a relationship as well, and I think she felt like she was going to get killed at that moment when Richarlison scored, because we started to walk. It was injury time, wasn't it? It was the last pretty kick of a game, and we started to walk down the steps, and then Watford was awarded a free kick, and I thought, hang on, we'll just wait here. Instead of tucking into the seats, we stood on the steps. So obviously the ball went into the back of the net, massive surge, and it felt like we was going to get trampled on, and it was just going to end in terrible. I'm surprised she's still with me now. But what a moment that was! Last minute, there's no better feeling than seeing your team score in the last minute for a winner or a last minute equaliser when you're up against the Kosh. But yeah, I can't remember ever seeing us win at West Brom. I remember going to West Brom and we got thumped about 5-0. And I think West Brom went up that season. And that was a difficult era, wasn't it, Mike? I think it was before the Pozzos came in. We might have had Malcolm Mackay or Deitch as manager. And it was really poor, but I would love us to go there. I sound like Kevin Keegan. I would love it. I would love us to go there. If we go there and get 3 points, but I'm leaning maybe more towards what you're thinking, Mike, other than Caity. But you know what? I'll go in the middle. I'll go for a draw. I don't want to be negative like you, Mike, but I don't want to be over positive like Caity. So I'm just going to sit on the fence here, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And look, I will take a 1-1 draw away at West Brom, and it will mean that Clevs has remained unbeaten in his first 3 games as well. So fair play to him. So credit where credit's due. Tom Cleverley is doing a fantastic job so far as Watford interim coach. Just want to say a massive thank you to everyone watching tonight. The comments have been on fire. So thank you everyone for contributing. If we haven't read out your comments, apologies, but it looks like you've all had a good old chat amongst yourselves anyway. Make sure you hit that like button and also the subscribe button as well. I think we're up to 480 YouTube subscribers, so we're 20 away from 500. So we would absolutely love it. We would absolutely love it if we get to 500 at the end of a season. If not, Mike's going to buy a hamster. It's a little private joke between us all. But yeah, we will be back to do a review of the West Brom game. Not too sure when yet, so I'm not going to say which day we're going to do it, but we will be back to do a review. Mike's got his finger up. It's like he's in the classroom. Yes, Mike.
No, I was just going to say I'll do a match day vlog tomorrow, hopefully.
Make sure you do it, mate. You start match day vlog sometime, and you get too drunk and it's like it don't even finish.
No, I'm going to try and do one. The only thing is, I think I'm on driving duty tomorrow, so I'm taking the missus down. We're stopping.
Nice romantic trip to West Brom.
Well, no, so we're going to Birmingham, and we're stopping in a very, very nice hotel, one that I've wanted to stop in for ages, and we got it dirt cheap, to be honest. So,
which Premier Inn is this?
No Premier Inn, my friend. This is the Hyatt Regency. And I know it's posh because back in the day, when Birmingham were in the Premier League, they played Chelsea. And I happened to be in town the day before. And Chelsea, the team, were coming out of that hotel. So yeah, I'll show everyone the room. I'll show them everything.
This is what Gareth is wanting. You've got to give the punters
room tour.
I will show everyone.
This best be in your match day vlog.
Yeah. No, this will be in the match day vlog. I'm on driving duty, so I'll do a little video before I set off.
I want it a bit like Ben Foster's YouTube channel.
Yes.
He's gone to his room. He's got his ketchup. He's got football. He's got his fancy football on the side on the balcony. It looks like his laptop's going to go over. But
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I'll make sure that it's I'll make sure it's a real good match day vlog tomorrow. Also, as well, for those that didn't see, I put a tweet out. I don't think I need to put a tweet out for West Brom because it's one of the best away pubs, but it's the Vine in West Brom. You can find the address.
Is that a rundown pub? It's not a pretty pub, is it?
No, mate. I've never been, so I'm losing my Vine virginity tomorrow. And
unlucky.
And from the outside, you think, oh, it's just sort of a run of the mill pub. I mean, look, I'll say this very quietly. West Brom isn't the nicest of places. So
I can tell you, mate, this pub is not very nice either.
No, but apparently they do. The food they do in there is shit hot. So I'm all for it. So yeah, in fact, Ben, I needn't say any more because you'll see it in the match day vlog.
You make sure there's plenty of content this time. Don't you just go for a park run in the morning, sit in your car, have your breakfast like you've done before, just talk rubbish for 5 minutes.
Honestly,
I want content this time.
This is going to be the best match day vlog you have ever seen.
Cool, listeners, you hear that? Like me and Caity, we're the match day vlogs people that look after it for the voice of the Vic. Mike's actually going to challenge us and make sure it's the best. Oh wow, okay, strap yourselves in there. You're going to be on a bumpy ride.
After we finish recording, I'll start it. I'll be like, yo, match day vlog, just finished recording.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, we'll let everyone go to enjoy the rest of your Easter. Thank you for all watching as well. I know it's Easter Sunday as well. You've all had bits and pieces on with maybe family and that, so do really appreciate it. I'm going to probably get it in the ear now because I've been on here for nearly an hour and a half, but it's all right. It's Easter, so yeah. Who cares? And Watford are going to win tomorrow, aren't they, Caity? So that's all that matters. Yeah. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back soon with a match day vlog, which should be the best ever, and also a review of a West Brom game. I nearly said Mike's favourite catchphrase, stay safe. I'm going to keep away from it. Make sure you enjoy yourselves at West Brom if you're going tomorrow. Drink responsibly and enjoy yourselves. Come on, you ones.